Hey there guys, today I got the Lansky Sharpening system. I got it today, it just came in the mail, and so I'm going to do a little quick review video for you, let you guys know how it is and how I enjoy it. I have this old pocket knife and I'd like to give it a try, and this bottle cap open knife that I made in a few videos ago. You might have seen it. So I'm gonna also test it out on this. I've blunted this edge a little bit. I have a paper. I turned it into a little jet. That doesn't matter. So I'm gonna show you the sharpness of it, the before and after. All right, let's get to it. All right, so as you can see, we have our two little knives over here, and the print paper. It's just a test print. So let's see how this pocket knife fares. It cuts, but it isn't sharp. It's more ripping the paper than anything else. As you can see, it more rips the paper than anything else. Then my dulled pocket knife, my bottle opener knife. As you can see, it's dulled, cuts, but it also mostly just tears. It's pretty dull at the moment. But yeah, so let's see how well the Lansky does. Okay, so this is the little tool. It's actually smaller than what I expected it to be. It's roughly the same size as my hand, as you can see. So you have a lock screw over here and you have a thumb screw to adjust it. I'll show you exactly how it all works. You have your jaws over here where you would put the actual knife blade in this way. So where the actual knife point is facing away from the system. So what you do, there's your little screw piece sticking out at the bottom. So you'd get either a Phillips head or a flathead screwdriver and you just loosen it. And you'll see it opens up quite a bit, quite easily, as you can see there. And what happens if I want to put this inside the knife sharpener here, it's not that hard to do. Just open it up and you're gonna put it in just like that. There you go. You want to put it just a little bit further out, just so it sticks out a bit. And you want to put it in more towards the center of the blade and let the system stick out halfway through the blade at least. Then you're gonna want to tighten the screw. When the screw is nice and tight, you don't want to over tighten that small screw in the front here. Over tighten it and make sure that it's tight, and make sure that the actual system is flush on the sides. Best way I find is that I rest the knife onto my palm over here and make sure that the knife is this edge. Make sure that this edge over here, if it would focus, there you go, at this edge. Why is it not focusing? There you go. Make sure that this edge is parallel to this edge. So you're gonna have to try and make sure that that's right. You have to wait for movement. You're just gonna tighten just a little bit more. There you go. You have your thumb screw over here, and that screw is meant to tighten this piece here. So this is why you don't over tighten this. So you have that loose, and then you're gonna tighten the thumb screw. And as you tighten the thumb screw, you're gonna see it's going to pry it open. So this is gonna still be with the edge. Make sure that's flush, and you're gonna tighten the thumb screw. Alright, let me just do this and I'll get back. And now this is what it's going to look like. As you can see, it's halfway through the blade, and this piece of blade is parallel with this piece of the system. Alright, so now what you're going to do with this is that I found that it's better to unscrew this thumb screw, try and screw it up most of the way so that it shows that it lifts up the system. So you can get your rod in between 17 degrees, because this is what this angle is going to be at. This angle is going to be at 17 degrees. So you're going to loosen your tightening screw until it's about flush with the base of the system, and you're going to open your clamp, your thumb screw, until it's almost all the way out, just a little bit. So you can open it all the way, then you're going to do a full turn that way. You're going to full turn loosen, and then you're going to take the knife and you're going to put the knife in here, and you're going to tighten the thumb screw a little bit, and then you're going to tighten the actual tension screw. You don't want to tighten this, over tighten this, because you will strip it. And you don't want to over tighten this because you will strip it. This is all like an aluminium based metal, so it's not exactly the strongest of all metals, so just be careful with that. Alright, now let's get into the setup of all this. As you saw, the pocket knife wasn't the sharpest, so it probably, and it doesn't look like the edge is battered in any way. It actually looks like a pretty decent edge still. So it looks like we won't have to go through all the grits. So in the grits we have a 70 grit, which is an extra coarse stone. We have a coarse stone at 120 grit. We have a medium stone at 280 grit, fine stone at 600 grit, and an ultra fine stone at 1000 grit. Alright, so we have that, and we have our honing oil. This 1000 grit is your ceramic stone. You can actually feel it. It feels like it's paper. It's super smooth. It's like it's actually smoother than paper itself. It's weird. Like, wow, it really is a brilliant stone. And if I feel the 600 grit, you can actually feel it feels slightly coarser than paper. But yeah, so that's your stone. So the setup is, if you're going to take one of your guide rail rods, you're going to want to make sure that it's pretty straight with the table. Make sure you have a straight table. And then I'm going to go just touch it up with a 280 grit, the medium stone. Then you can see inside here, if I tighten this, you can see how the nut goes through with the wing nut. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to open it up all the way, and you're going to lay with the stone facing down. And then you're going to take this rod with it facing up, and you're going to want to put it inside this hole. Then you're just going to want to put it inside here. And once you've got it inside, then as you can see, it's not flat. You're going to have to take it and you have to flatten it down. And you see how it's lifting here a little? Now it's rocking. So what you're going to do, you want to make this flat, and then all you can do is just take the rod itself, and you can just bend the rod a little bit to make it more flat. As you can see, now the end of the rod here is flat there, and the end of the knife's flat there. Well, the sharpening stone. Then what you're going to want to do is going to take the wing nut, and you're going to sharpen. As you could see when I was tightening it, it forces the bolts to hit the rod, and it keeps the rod in place. Now, just quick to mention, this is going to be a hand tighten. Don't over tighten it, because you can actually pop this plastic housing, and then your stone's rendered useless, and you're going to have to buy a brand new stone. Lansky does sell extra stones if you need, but yeah, and this does come with an extra wing nut in case you lose your wing nut, so which is very cool, you know. And also, please do not tighten it with the pliers. Just tighten it with your hand tight. Once it's fussed and you feel like, okay, it's tight, it's not going to really turn anymore, that's good. Alright, and let's put this into the system. Now, the system currently does not have a stand. If you want to see, I can make a stand in the next video, and where this whole system can stand on you, so you don't actually have to really hold it and sharpen it at the same time. Okay, so I had to do an adjustment on my actual knife itself over here with the holding. As you can see, if I have to put this thing in 17 degrees, because as we checked here, it's the closest angle at 17 degrees. And if we had this blade slightly more in, because it's such a thin blade, if I had to have it slightly more in, I was going to actually hit the stand itself, and we don't want that. We don't want to hit the clamp. So what we're going to do is we're going to have in our hands, it's going to hold it nice and easy at 17 degrees, and our oiled up stone. This is the medium stone. I don't know if you can see there, but it shows that it's 280 degrees. Alright, so let's get to it. Now Lansky, they in their instructional videos, they show that you must only go up and try and use the whole stone. As you can see, it's a short blade, so the stone only goes up until there. But try and use the whole stone. I don't see an issue with going down. As you go up, apply medium pressure. For me, it's medium pressure, but everyone has their own set of pressure. But for me, I'm just using what I feel is medium pressure. And as you can see on the stone, you can see where it's being used. So you can actually see that a metal is being shaved off of the edge. Some people like to do the up and down action. So my only issue with up and down action like this is that you're not entirely sure how long you've been going over a certain spot. So this is just really easy. So you're counting parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. I haven't really been counting, but I know more or less how long it's been taking, how long I've been doing this one edge for. And you're going to want to do them at an equal pace. And that's pretty much done. As you can see here, let's wipe that down with our overly sized cloth over here. And you can see how the edge is slowly forming. Alright, let's do the other side. So we're going to flip it over. And we're going to do the other side at 17. Make sure you don't put it in the wrong. I almost did it, put in 20. And I want to put it in at 17. And you can do the same on the other side. Let's speed this up. Alright, and that is at 200 meters. And if you want to read it, you can see the actual system to see if I can any answer difference. I can see it's already coming together. Not for this, but it's already on there. So it's popular system. You can see it's already on there. Let's continue with that. Okay, now we have the 600 grit stone. As you can see over here, the 600 grit fine stone. And let's get to it. Make sure when you're doing it again, make sure you put it back into your 17 degree hole so you don't put a wrong edge on your blade. As you can see here, the edge is getting nice and polished versus this side. Let's clean it off. So this is the 600 grit side, and that's the 280 grit. 280 grit looks good, but the 600 grit is looking so much better. Alright, let's get to the 600 grit on the opposite side at 17 degrees. Now just be extra careful when you not to go off and you hit that stone against the side of the blade, you will damage your stone. So you're going to want to try and be as precise as possible. Alright, let's continue. Also, be careful not to go off the blade and hit it with the side of the blade. You will damage your tip and you will damage your stone. Let's continue. Now, from my understanding, with the 1000 grit ultrafine stone, you do not need to use any of the honing oil. So let's continue at 17 and let's do this. As you can feel, there's a complete difference. There is no grit, it's just so smooth. Wow, it's amazing. This is the polishing stone. So all it is really polishing up your edge and making it so fine. As you can see, it has that really mirror finish on the edge. See right there, mirror finish. Right. And bring it extra close. Yes, so that feels really sharp. Right. Let's go to the test. Let's take this thing off the system and let's do the test. Alright, as you can see here, it's going to pick a hole through here. Nice and smooth. Yeah. There you go. Nice and easy cut. As you can see, it is really sharp now. And that's just a itty bitty pocket knife. Alright guys, I know it's a change of scenery. So I just finished sharpening the knife. And here you go, now you can see the bevel. And that's all the way up until the 1000 grit stone, the ultrafine stone. Let's see if I can get this to sit here. So you can see the paper test. Some old stencil. Well, it says really all good, but okay. So it is really sharp. As you can see, it really cuts through the paper well. And then let's see with some leg hair. As you can see, let's have a look here. As you can see, it really does shave well. And here's all the hair. Yeah, so that's that. That's the knife really doing its job, and the the Lansky sharpening system doing what it needs to do, and it really is great. Go hold it and bam. It really is something to brag about. Lansky sharpening system. I give it a thumbs up. Big zoomed in thumbs up.